What do you know? What do you say? Thanks for coming back. Thanks for joining us one more time. I'm Pastor Dave, sitting with Randall, the armor bearer, and you should know us by now. We are
They That Believe.
And you and I guess we've been out of touch for a week or two. I haven't talked to you since we made our trip and came back from Comic-Con. Anything, before I go on and regale you with stories, anything interesting going on in your life?
No, I was telling you earlier, I was a gym teacher for a day at the school. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, you were talking about, Randall's been substituting, or I guess that's it, or teaching assistant teaching or what, at the school. And you were talking about playing dodgeball, but you said the balls are different now?
Yeah, they're. I remember when I was a kid, they were hard. Like you get nailed with one and, you'd see stars for a minute. These are really soft and they don't fill them up all the way.
Are they still like that burgundy color?
No, they're all different colors.
Okay, but they don't. How similar are they to what we would be familiar with? Do they have that texture?
No,
that
they're
weird texture on them.
Completely different. Almost like the balls that you see in like Walmart and the bin, like the plastic balls they have there.
Oh yeah, are they that light?
Yeah, they're super light.
Because that's not very very aerodynamic. Those things are so light that I guess they are aerodynamic, but they don't have any real weight to them.
No, they like zip and go curves and
like wiffle balls or something.
Yeah.
That is peculiar. Oh, it would make the game more challenging. I mean, I guess if you fancied yourself a dodgeball expert, if you could, like a sniper, licking his finger and checking windage, and you got to take into account the rotation of the earth and everything else.
It's just funny when you do that, you get into that role of being a gym teacher, like every gym teacher you've ever had in your life, and you start developing that mentality, I think.
Really? What do you mean by that? What did you find happening in yourself?
Well, like in the dodgeball game they play, if you get hit, you have to take a lap around the gym.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you don't get out. You got to take a lap and then come back and you play more. They actually call it cardio ball. But I was getting too excited saying, take a lap, take a lap.
You better be running.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I saw you get out. Take a lap.
I was going to say at first, I thought, well, that seems kind of punitive, but I guess there's a back doorway for them to get you to exercise. Because when I had PE in high school, and I didn't do anything.
No.
We went and dressed out and sat on the bleachers.
Yeah.
Played guitar, talked, or occasionally got up and walked around. But
walked around the track.
I don't really remember, at least in terms of junior high or high school, being made to do anything. I do remember in like elementary school, they made us run.
Yeah.
But, well, that's interesting. Dodgeball. And you said that they don't pick teams like we used to?
No, I remember, because I remember
team captains.
I was a chubby little kid, and I was always the last one to get picked. So now the teacher has to pick the team, so nobody feels left out,
So the form is still essentially the same. It's just you're not like letting the kids or the team captains pick.
Right.
Kids, right. You pick them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that seems ripe for a problem there too. Then, though, I mean, if you know how kids are. Well, adults are like this too. They get whiny and think somebody's not giving them a fair shake. So, what's your method on that? Do you go to the ones like, are you evaluating who would get picked last if the kids were doing it, and you let those kids go first, or do you try to sneak them in the middle so that it's not obvious?
That would be mean, wouldn't it? If you were like the teacher was picking them like that. Like if you were the last kid there, and you're like, I mean, the teacher even thinks I'm.
I tell you where this would really work. Well, no, I shouldn't. I'm kind of revealing how my mind works. Maybe this is my old mind, my former life. But like you could really, stack the team to shave some points, and you put this one over here.
Like the teacher's betting in between class.
Hey, Bobby, come over here. Listen, there's an extra 20 in it. There's an extra ice cream at lunch for you if you keep this. If you keep this in the spread,
yeah. If you take one to the head, we'll give you.
If you can keep us in the over under, I'm going to give you all the.
I'll give you a free hall pass if you.
The less than desirable kids. I don't know what to call them. I don't want to be mean. I'm talking about hypothetical kids that I don't even know, and I'm still trying to be cautious. Okay. Well, no, we should. It's just exhibition, not competition, please.
Yes.
Please, no wagering. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you're still doing that. I'm glad you're having a good time. Seems like you're really enjoying it. Mm-hmm. So, it's been a couple of weeks now since we've sat down and visited. Did go to the Wizard World Con in Nashville. We had a great time, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Did you get a chance to, did you hear the pod that we did with Mom?
I made it about halfway through, and then the girls were driving me crazy, so I couldn't listen to the rest of it.
She's pretty funny, huh?
She's hilarious.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
I knew that would work. I knew if I could, I thought maybe I might even have to work a little bit to kind of coax her or pull her out of her shell, but really did not. I mean, really, once she jumped in, I mean, she started with a joke. Yeah. Started, crying about the football team, and I was like, this is going to be easy.
This is good.
We probably could have gone on for much longer, so I'm hopeful we'll get a chance to do it again. So if you haven't heard that, go back and listen to the last podcast that we did with my mom. Gretchen and I were in Nashville, and you should probably do that before we continue, because I may reference a thing or two, and I don't want you to miss a joke or something or reference it.
My mom wants to meet your mom now.
Yeah, right. And see, I don't really know her. What I would know or think about her would tell me that, because you and I have similar sensibilities, which tells me they probably do. And I know she seemed to, at least commenting about it, like she identified with Mom. So I don't know. Maybe there's a whole nother.
We should put them together.
That's what I was about to say. There's a whole nother untapped project right there. Your mom has a podcast. So so we went to Wizard World Con. We had a good time. I am going to gripe a little bit about some first world problems that we had, which really had nothing to do with the con. We booked a hotel to stay down there. Now, I do have family down there, and up until a few years ago, anytime we would go stay with family. They're getting older, and they got more things going on, and some illnesses and things like that. So just in the last couple of years, it hasn't been it would be inconvenient for them. So I thought, well, this time let's do it right and treat the family. Now, Nathan he likes the hotel experience. He almost got more excited about the hotel than he did the actual event. So I said,
remember being like that?
Not really, not with hotels.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to love hotels, and when I got older, it's like,
I do.
Hotel.
And I liked them as a kid, but it wasn't like Nathan. He will ask to go on trips just to go, like, can we go stay at a hotel for the weekend? Yeah. He just likes it. And I do understand the appeal, and I understand why that's fun for him. I just don't think that I had it as much. It would be part of the trip. Isn't this fun, going to the pool and all that kind of thing? So one of the things that I wanted to do is, because I knew the con was right in the downtown area in what they call the Music City Center. It's right over by the football field, LP Field. Well, it's not LP Field, it's something else, but where the Titans play, the football stadium. Yeah. And I didn't want us to, here's my thinking. Now, this is several months ago when I'm planning this. I wanted it to be where we didn't have to drive, like to get into downtown and find a place to park and get out and do all that kind of mess. So I said, well, if I get a hotel that's like close enough, right there in the middle of town, we can walk everywhere. And ultimately, that's what we ended up doing.
Ooh, that's a super good neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where I'm going. Now, it weren't cheap.
Yeah.
But, this is the first real family vacation of sorts that we've had maybe ever. We've made some trips to visit, like, Gretchen's family in Ohio and stuff, but and those are little vacation trips. But I mean, we're going to go and do touristy things and stay in the hotel, and we're going to an event and that whole kind of thing. So you want to treat the family, and I didn't expect it to be cheap, and this is not really what that's about. And we're not wealthy people, so this is a splurge. This is Daddy doing something nice for the family. But that is important to know as we go forward, because I'm going to complain about it. So we're at the Sheraton in downtown Nashville, which I was familiar with. I've been there before, not to stay, but for when I used to be in the news business, the Associated Press banquet was usually held there. So I've been in there, I'm familiar with it, and the glass elevators and the whole bit. So here's what this all ended up being. If the room were, or the accommodations, let me say that, not necessarily the room. If the accommodations were $200 or less a night, probably would not have anything negative to say at all. The room was very nice. It was clean. The television worked. The coffee maker worked. We had a semi-nice view of the city. Looked really nice at night when the sun went down and all the lights came up. And And I understand that what you're paying for probably mostly is the convenience or the privilege of being right there in the downtown area, but it probably ended up costing us, didn't cost us anything. It cost Dad a lot. It was obscenely overpriced. We did have the convenience of being able to walk everywhere, and here's the thing that really bugged me. They have a parking garage, a parking structure, attached to the hotel, right there on the hotel. We go in there to park in the hotel. Now, the whole thing is, though, basically it's like this. If you're going there, know this. And maybe most of them are like this before I start giving them a hard time. But the hotel in and of itself doesn't really have any parking. This is a parking structure that's owned and operated by another private company. Now, it's adjacent to the hotel, and if you're a guest there, that's very likely where you're going to park your car.
Right.
But know this. If you go downtown one night to go eat at the Hard Rock or whatever, and you park in this garage, it's going to cost you something.
Right.
If you go to stay at the Sheraton for 2 or 3 days, you're going to pay the same price. That really didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, and they give you a discount or something.
How did you expect me to get here? I had to come in my car. I just paid an obscene amount to stay in your hotel room. Again, what was wrong with the room? Well, nothing's wrong with it. It was clean. The TV worked. The coffee maker worked. The water was hot. Nothing was wrong with it. It was just obscenely overpriced. And on top of that, and I almost had a moment because we got to the front desk and we were getting our key cards, which, thank the stars, thank God. The key cards worked because you know how that's a whole nother thing. But they actually worked. So anyway,
that's worth $200 right there. They never work any hotel you go to.
Well, did you go to the room right away? Maybe I'm silly like that. Yeah. I come in, check in, and silly me. I went over. You said go to the elevator. I went on the elevator and went to the room.
I always like to wait 30 minutes around to see if the key card works before I go into the hotel room. Yeah.
So we're checking in at the front desk, and the guy says, "Listen to this." He says, Are you parking with us, or are you parked with us? Are you parked with us? So for a moment, just for a brief moment, I had a little giddy in my stomach that went, wait a minute, a little ray of hope. And I said, yes, we are, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we're going to comp your parking, or it's half price. It's something.
Here, take this ticket. And
Well, he says, here's what he says. Here's why he asked that. He said, your key card will get you in and out of the garage without having to keep punching. Like, you get the paper card, and like if you were to leave, you would pay. And if you come back, you check in again, and if you left again, you'd pay. Well, the way this works is just if you use your hotel key card, you don't have to keep trying to, drop $1 every time you come in and go. You can just keep coming and going. But ultimately, the bill for the parking goes on your, so there's the convenience of that. Now, I'll say this. The hotel staff, super nice. I mean, really nice people, very accommodating, helpful, no problem with that. And so that made it a little difficult for me. I don't want to be mean to him. And this guy is working at the desk trying to check people in. It's not his fault that they don't have any parking for their guests. Now they would take issue with that if I said that. Yeah. Well, we got a whole structure over here. That's not your guest parking. No. That's parking for anybody. We just happened to be staying here, and we parked over there. Now we're paying full price like everybody else. And I'm telling you, it's not cheap. It was about $30 a day.
Do you think they make the prices go up because the Comic-Con was there? Do you think that they had like different?
No, I think that the price, the garage prices are set. Are you talking about the room prices?
Yeah, the room price.
They may have been higher, but not because of the con. Now, there's another facet to that story. Yeah. Will you put a pin in that for me? Because if not, I'll forget. I want to tell you what was going on, but don't let me forget. Let me finish complaining about the hotel. And they got the pool, and we go down in the pool, the indoor pool, which is heated and nice. It's probably as big as somebody's living room. It was really small, and Nathan and I enjoyed a little bit of pool time. And then by the time 2, 3, 4 other guests come in, Pool's crowded.
It's like a hot tub then.
Yeah. So, but we had some good, and they do have a wonderful, if you are interested in this, you would probably like this. They had a wonderful gym area. They have a whole room with like treadmills and stationary bikes and stuff, and then another room across from it with free weights and that kind of thing. Really nice. That was really outfitted, and I took good notice of that. Did I use it? No. But let me tell you what, I paid for it. Got my bill. There was also a $10 facility fee.
Sweet.
On there. And that was the other thing. There were so many of these add-ons, and everything it's a convenience fee.
Yeah.
Really? It's they use all this language that's completely infuriating. There's obviously, anytime you see the words convenience fee.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen a convenience fee that you said, well, that was convenient?
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing convenient about it.
That was worth $10. Yeah.
So that, and what else? They have food there, and nice food. And if you go to eat, like what they have the lounge area where they serve like lunch and dinner and desserts and stuff up until late at night. So that's cool. We stopped in when we got in late one night and had a great dessert in there. And it's not ridiculously overpriced. It's a little high, but it's what you would expect to pay at any decent restaurant. And we got a breakfast one morning, and it ran $17-18.
It wasn't a continental breakfast.
No, it was a full-on breakfast buffet. And is that high? Is that expensive? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to complain about it because it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It's not something we could do, every day. Not something I would even want to do once a week.
Right.
But I mean, like example, they got the spread with the scrambled eggs and the gravy and the biscuits and the bacon and the sausage links. They even had like a plate of smoked salmon.
Wow.
Yeah, that I had with my eggs, which was glorious. It was beautiful. So, do I care about paying $17-18 for breakfast? Absolutely not. Now, of course, I made sure and sat there and fed Nathan until he was about to throw up, because you're going to eat this until you get full.
We're not eating anywhere else today.
So, I'm not even complaining about that. But I'd look, because at one point in time, we were up in the room, I considered momentarily maybe getting room service, because all this stuff that you can go downstairs and get, they can bring to your room. Yeah. And that's where it was like, I don't know, say you wanted a cheeseburger for like $15.
Just had a little heart attack.
A little high. Yeah. But I mean, if you go into, I don't know, Ruby Tuesday or is that the Red Robin or something like that? Yeah. If you go get a high-end burger, you're going to pay. So, and again, for the convenience of having it brought to the room. But then you start looking a little further, you look down on like in the fine print, and they go ahead and add on a 20% gratuity. Ooh. And they go ahead and add on I don't remember what it was, a $5 or $10 delivery fee to bring it up the elevator and all that kind of stuff. So, by the time you get out of there, your $15 burger is going to be $25. Yeah, right. So I said, yeah, I kind of put the kibosh on that. It's like, okay, no room service. But what that demonstrates, and the reason I bring that up, is it just seemed like at every turn there was some subtle little move to squeeze just a little more. Just a little more.
Right.
Just a little more, from the parking to the room. And I guess the biggest thing for me, was the room. The room and the parking. If the room was $200 or less a night, would not have complained. And I don't even know for what we paid for the rooms. If I'd have gone and been able to park, and nobody gave, here's a parking voucher, validate your parking, I don't know. But it all just added up into this one experience, and I'm like, this is just totally not worth it, man.
I wonder if you could park at the McDonald's and take a cab over there or something.
Well, I mean, we could have stayed, outside of town for, I don't know, $100 a night, $150 a night. Honestly, in a room that would have been comparable.
Yeah, probably as nice.
See, I didn't know that at the time. I'm booking what they call a double deluxe suite, or
presidential suite.
Oh, it just sounded grand. And you get up there, and I'm like, this is like a Ramada Inn or something. I mean, it's not nice, a Holiday Inn, but you immediately, you start ching, 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 ching. You start thinking about what you paid, and I'm like, where's my where's my $400 room? What is this? I'm looking for another door that opens up into the suite.
Where the living room is.
Where's where the rock stars are staying or something.
Yeah.
And again, I know it costs more. It's going to cost more because it's right there in downtown. And some of it, I think, is the brand. Just because we're the Sheraton. We're the Sheraton at downtown Nashville. And
I stayed at the Sheraton Treasure Island when I was a kid, and it was a very nice hotel. I still remember how nice it was, and I was like probably 9 or 10. But,
yeah. And again, you're going, what's wrong with it? Nothing. The room was nice. We kept it nice and cold. You know how hotel rooms are.
Yeah.
No refrigerator. There was no little refrigerator.
They want you to buy their food. They don't want you to keep your food there.
Well, we had a soda machine,
Yeah.
Right up the hall. We could get cold sodas out of a drink machine.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, though. No vending machines other than a soda machine. I wanted a candy bar.
Yeah.
And Nate was like, well, there's vending machines up the hall. I go up, there's a Coke machine.
Sir, we have the finest brownies available at the desk.
Oh, they're good.
If you'd like to spend $5 or $6.
Oh, yeah, and here's the other thing about that. Now, you go to the lounge to get all the food and stuff, and that's pretty nice. They got TV and pool table. Nate and I played a little pool, and we got a big cake brownie with ice cream and all the stuff, and it was late at night. It was wonderful, wonderful. But the quote-unquote lounge area is right there. It's right in or adjacent to the lobby. If I don't want you to miss it, because if I say, well, it's adjacent to, it sounds like it's next door. I mean, it's not in the lobby, but it's right there off to the side.
Yeah.
So if you come in after 8 or 9 o'clock, you're walking through a chorus of loud swearing drunks. And that kind of bugged me.
Yeah, it's a great place for a kid.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, let me set the scene for you and tell you what else was going on. So I'm done. I'm done with that, with the complaining about the hotel. But here's why some other folks were staying there and probably wish they'd have stayed somewhere else too. We get into town. We got in. The con ran all weekend. We wanted to go on Saturday. We got in Friday afternoon. I tried to get up there nice and early on a Friday afternoon so Nate would have time to enjoy the hotel experience, as he is wont to do. So we get there. We're in the hotel. At some point, we get out and walk around. We went to eat at the Hard Rock, and I'm walking around, and we're in the heart of downtown Nashville, right? We're walking 4th Avenue, 5th Avenue, 2nd Avenue by the Wild Horse. We're going over the Hard Rock, Printer's Alley, the whole thing. And everywhere I turn, every corner I turn, everywhere I look, are little girls. Like your girls.
Yeah.
Right? And for a bit, you don't think anything of it. You know you're downtown. It's a touristy area. And we go into the Hard Rock, and it's full of kids. It's full of little girls.
You ever think you're in like some weird horror movie or something?
No. They wasn't like Children of the Corn or nothing.
Shining or something.
They all had adult company. They looked harmless. But it just struck me as odd. I'm like, what has happened to downtown Nashville? It's overrun with little girls. I'm like, it's kind of like, how Vegas used to be better when the mob ran it.
Yeah.
And now it's
like family.
Yeah.
It's like a big theme park.
And that's why I'm like, is downtown Nashville become like Disneyland? It's like, I thought of Vegas. But so we're sitting in the Hard Rock and we're eating, and I'm noticing because they have TVs on the walls and stuff, and they play music videos, and like every other video, every other song was Taylor Swift.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, that's interesting. That's not immediately, and I don't have any problem at all with Taylor Swift, but that's not immediately when I think of the Hard Rock. I think of like Elvis's gold lame suit and, Pete Townshend's guitar, Kurt Cobain's hair grease or whatever. So then I get it. I overhear one of the waiters come up to the table with the little girls and go, "Oh, are you going to see Taylor Swift?" I'm like, we have come into town on Taylor Swift weekend.
I bet Nate was in heaven, wasn't he?
Not really.
Oh.
Most of the crowd he's 13, and there may have been some that were around that age, but most of the ones I saw, to be flat honest with you, dude, looked younger. Again, they looked I saw a bunch that looked like your girls.
Oh.
That's what it made me think of. And she did 2 shows. There was a Friday night show and a Saturday night show. Now, that's just for conversation and for fun. Obviously, the Taylor Swift crowd is not a raucous or problematic crowd. You know, we did not mind at all sharing the streets of Nashville and the hotel with the, you know, little girls and their moms and stuff. Although it was funny because you would say their moms, you know, you've got these middle-aged women that are carrying their kids down there to the show, and they get dressed up like I don't want to be cruel or I don't want to be in bad taste, but you know, it's like they look like the moms look like they're going for girls' night out too.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going to see Bon Jovi or something. Like, woo, girl, you know. Hey, they didn't. But then again, I mean, I don't know what you expect them to dress like. There's no reason for them to dress down. But it was just funny because you could see all these little girls, here they come, with their moms in tow, and their moms walking like, ooh, girl, you know I look good. You know I look, you know, they just...
Like a contest between them.
Yeah. And I'm like, wherever it is you're from, you don't go out every weekend looking like that. Yeah. I know that. But again, just having fun because it was great. Other than, you know, like I didn't appreciate getting we didn't get run out, but like at a certain point, like we went to the lounge after we had come in, we'd had a big dinner somewhere else. And we're kind of tired from walking around. So it's like, well, let's go back to the hotel and get the big cake brownie with the ice cream in the lounge and all that. And we got back in, you know, 7, 8 o'clock, and still wasn't a whole lot of people in there and everything. It was kind of low key. I think there was some sports stuff on the TV. Nate and I played a little pool and all that. But within a half hour to 45 minutes, the mood started to shift, business started to pick up, and all of a sudden people are walking in and hey, people started getting loud, and
the regulars came in.
The old guy last night that bought everybody drinks walked in again, and everybody was glad to see him, and then here come a lot of ugly talk about people's mother and your father and your mother, and I was like, ooh, I said, well, it's time for us to go. You know, those things are out there. Hey, I used to be that guy. You know, I'm not going, I'm not on this horse, you know, look at those people and all that. But there's kids walking right around by you. But again, the hotel expects you to take your kids and your family to go get dessert and cheeseburgers in the same area where they expect all their other guests to come down and buy drinks.
The business class.
And corrals. Yeah. That just didn't work well together. And even then, if you wanted to avoid it, you still kind of have to walk through it or walk by it coming through the lobby.
Right.
So you can imagine, you know, these guys that are in town for conferences and other things like that are staying down there. They're coming in late, you know, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. They're in there getting liquored up. And then, you know, around the same time, Taylor Swift plays her encore. The show lets out, and it's just around a couple of blocks up. So they're all. So here comes the parade of the little girls and stuff. It's just a bad scene. So that was kind of one of those things where I wanted to ding the hotel about too. And then Sunday was game day, so the Titans were in town. So by the time Sunday morning rolled around, a lot of the Taylor Swift crowd was checking out, and the Sunday game crowd was checking in. We saw a lot of folks coming in Sunday morning. So that's the high points of, well, I didn't even touch on the con. That was what was going on with our hotel stay. So for what it's worth, I would say, look, if you're going down there, don't stay at the Sheraton. But at the same time, you're probably, I probably should be real with myself. It's probably going to cost about the same anywhere.
Right.
I wouldn't mind if I just felt like if I got the expensive treatment that I paid for. And that's probably it. I just don't feel like I got what I paid for. And that thing of being that you have this suspicious relationship with these people that are serving you of where are you going to squeeze me next? What are you trying to get out of me next? You know, Nate starts reaching for the bottled water up on don't you touch that bottled water.
No.
Don't you dare, you know.
That's $10 bottled water. Stop.
We bought bottled water. Oh,
There's a tap.
And yeah, right. We did. We brought water and drinks and peanut butter and jelly and stuff. You know, and how redneck is that? We're staying in this expensive hotel room in the middle of downtown Nashville, but we made sure and brought peanut butter and jelly and bottled water. We're not paying for nothing else, you know.
My girls know, like we go to the pool or something. You know, the pool always sells snacks and stuff over the summer, and I'm like, no. We'll go to the store beforehand. We'll get stuff. No.
Yeah. That's me. That's me. So you probably, It's probably going to be the same anywhere else you go. But okay, so on the con, yeah. Now we had a good time. Don't anybody misunderstand. We had a great trip and a good time and all that. We went to the con Saturday and were able to walk over there to the Music City Center. And there's really not just a whole lot to tell you about like what we did. We spent a lot of time walking around. The experience of being in that atmosphere, there's just an energy and it's fun and everybody's there just for total goof off fun. You know, there's nothing heavy going on there. It's just kind of like, we can all just come in here and be silly. What did I see? Lots of Game of Thrones stuff, lots of Walking Dead stuff. There was a whole corner of the building that seemed to be set up with people selling Game of Thrones replica kind of stuff, like the real swords and stuff that you just about can't barely pick up.
Yeah.
And, the helmets, like they wear on their armor, and Lord of the Rings stuff. They were selling because it was the same people in the same corner of the building that are selling these Game of Thrones swords and costume stuff, and with the Lord of the Rings stuff, and it all looked the same. Yeah. Because I'm like, I don't remember anybody using that one, and they're like, who did that? And they're like, that sword was used by so and so. I was like, who is that? And they're like, oh, from Lord of the Rings. I'm like, oh. Because it all looks the same, and it's all even packaged in the same kind of looking boxes. And
funniest thing I've ever seen when I worked in Knoxville. I worked in Knoxville for several years, and I would drive a delivery truck around to make sales calls. And I was in downtown Knoxville, and usually about 9 o'clock in the morning, the Mission would let out the homeless people. Like they could stay the night there, and then at 9 o'clock they let them out. Well, the Mission in Knoxville happens to be about 2 blocks down from the convention center in Knoxville. And they were having the Fanboy Convention in Knoxville. At the same time the Fanboy Convention was starting, the Mission was letting its people out. So in the streets, you had a mixture of Superman, Batman, and homeless people all over the place. Huh. And I didn't know what was going on. So here I am just driving my delivery truck through my sales route, and I see random Batman on the street, and,
right?
Intermixed with all these homeless people. It was it was crazy.
Like, who are you dressed as?
What show are you from?
And just imagine if the Taylor Swift crowd had been in town.
Oh, it would be horrible. Yeah.
Your head would have blown up. And we saw that a lot of folks dressed in costumes. Some great. You could tell people spent a lot of time and energy and effort and probably money wanting to look very authentic. And a lot of folks that didn't. We saw Fat Green Lantern. We saw Fat Firestorm. Fat Flash. Fat Flash really looked good.
Slow Flash.
Yeah, fat slow Flash. Well, man, I've tried to think that Nate just had a ball with that. He was like, look, there's, every time we would see somebody, he's like, there's Fat Firestorm. And it's not even like that. I mean, look, I'm in no position to criticize because I would look horrible trying to dress up in leotards looking like Green Lantern.
Next to anything spandex.
But I don't do it. Yeah. So it's not the general appearance of the people. It's that they thought, I'm gonna go like the Taylor Swift moms. I'm gonna go out my Green Lantern. I'm gonna look good. Oh, I'm gonna look good like Green Lantern.
I'm gonna be the best Green Lantern they got.
I'm look so good. People think I'm ready to get up and fly. I'm gonna fly like Green Lantern. I'm like, you barely got out of your chair, much less off the ground.
I don't want to see you get out of that later. It's going to be bad.
So, but there was a group of dudes that was all dressed up like Avengers and stuff. You may have seen Gretchen snapped a couple of photos. They look great. They look great. I mean, they were, as soon as we came in the door, they were busy taking pictures with everybody. And that's how the cons are too. You get everybody in there. Like there was the Avengers, but then like Batman was kind of lingering, and every now and then he'd jump in the picture. And very, very cool, very cool. What did I pick up while I was there? Didn't spend a whole lot of money there. I probably should have made a list because I didn't really dig for any back issues or anything. This was my first one, and really I spent most of the time just kind of walking around, taking it in.
Yeah, just hanging.
Yeah, bought. I probably didn't spend $30. It's a good time to get some stuff at a decent price. I got some trade books, some collected editions, some Fantastic Four, Avengers stuff, a Star Trek omnibus, a real thick one for like $10. So stuff that I kind of thought, well, I like this, and it's real cheap or a good deal on it, but not a lot. Didn't spend probably $30 on that. We did get to visit with Eric Estrada. Told you about that, if you've listened to the pod with Mom, you got that whole story. So I'm not going to really revisit that, but it was awesome, and he was so great. But now, what we didn't cover on Mom's pod was some of the other folks that were there that I wanted to talk about that I thought she wouldn't be as interested in, but would be cool to talk about here. In addition to Eric Estrada, his old partner was there, Larry Wilcox.
Oh.
Who was Officer Baker.
Officer Baker,
He was there. Danny Trejo, Machete.
Machete?
Yeah, baby. He was there. Gretchen snapped a picture of him picking his nose, I think.
He does a lot with AA. Does a lot with Narco Anonymous.
I didn't know that, but that does not surprise me.
I've got a friend that's been going through some real tough times lately, and he puts up on his Facebook page every now and then pictures of Danny Trejo doing stuff for
motivational.
Yeah, for like NA.
Well, that's neat.
He does a lot with the pit bulls and parolees, that kind of thing too.
He was wearing now that you mentioned that, he was wearing a pit bull T-shirt or something, and he, folks that don't know much about him, I don't know much about him, but he spent quite a bit of time in prison himself as a young man.
You would probably, if you saw him out in public and didn't know, you would stay away from him. I mean, he wouldn't be the one that you'd go up to and start. But I mean, I guess he's a super nice guy, from what my friend says. He's just, really into giving back. And
he had a very hard life. He had a very hard life in his former life, as I understand. I know he spent some hard prison time, and he looks it. He looks like like an ex-con.
I'm a big guy, and I'd be scared of him.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? He's in his early mid-70s.
Yeah.
He's not a spring chicken at all, which, I mean, you can't look at him and say, yeah, he just looks great and looks young, but still, maybe it's the physique or just generally, he doesn't look like a lot of elderly men that I know.
No, he's not walking around with a cane.
Or the way he carries himself or whatever. So, yeah, he was there. The Dukes of Hazzard crowd, Catherine Bach, Daisy Duke. She was there. Tom Wopat, Luke Duke, and John Schneider.
Ooh, Bo Duke.
Now, let me tell you this. John Schneider looks great.
Just like he did back then.
John Schneider, man, is an incredible looking man. And I'm comfortable and I'm not embarrassed to say it. I just, and you think about like all these other celebrities, everybody goes Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and all that kind of, now I've never met those people, but I'm just talking about like, if this guy passes you on the street or walked into a room, there's just he's very magnetic. Charisma. I mean, I was several feet away. I mean, I wasn't there to meet him or talk to him. I didn't have nothing to say to him. I mean, he's a cool dude and all, but just from several feet away looking at him, he's just tall and buff, and, his arms is bulging in his shirt, and, not like Credible Hulk kind of way, but just like
fit.
This is a dude that takes care of himself. You can tell he has lived well and has really taken care of himself.
He's worked a lot too. I mean, the other guys have done some. I mean, he's not like a super A-list celebrity or anything, but I mean, he's worked pretty solid since the Dukes of Hazzard. And Smallville, and then he's got that new thing with Tyler Perry.
That's what Gretchen was real excited, because she's a big Smallville fan, and she, of all things, if you're in the room with John Schneider and you take a picture and you put it up, like, are 99% of the people in the world or the country are probably going to go, look, I met Bo Duke. No, she says, oh, it's Jonathan Kent.
Jonathan Kent.
Like, that's your, that's the first place you go to. But
you live in Tennessee now, woman. You need to stop that.
Yeah, well, she's 3 years younger than me. She was born in 1977, so she was still maybe a little baby while I was still watching Dukes of Hazzard. So,
I was born in 1980. I remember having the car and, like, all that stuff.
I guess it was
figures.
still on, though.
Yeah.
Her parents are real strict, though. I don't think they let her watch TV.
Ooh.
So that had something to do with it. She did. Anyway, she missed all of that. And we have that come up all the time. I shouldn't talk about her while she's not here, but I'll grill her when and if we get to do our pod. But stuff will come on all the time, and I'll make a joke or something, a reference to it. And I'm like, you don't know what that is? You watch that show? She's like, we didn't watch anything. We didn't get to watch anything. She's like, before, she was even late high school age, She knows nothing of that world.
Well, I know that's like
But she knows Smallville. She started watching Smallville when she was a grown-up.
I remember reruns when I was a kid. You know, if you had cable, you could watch reruns. And my ex-wife, she didn't have cable, so she didn't even know things like Gilligan's Island even existed.
In syndication, yeah.
Yeah, you know. So it'd be like, oh yeah, I saw that on Gilligan's Island. What's Gilligan's Island?
That's funny that you mentioned that. You know, I was thinking, of course, that kind of touches on some stuff Mom and I were talking about during our pod, but Gilligan's Island was one of my regular shows that I loved and watched when I was a kid, and I think of that being one of my kids' shows, but I would not have been watching it first run. I would have been watching it in syndication as well.
The Brady Bunch, I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
The Love Boat, I think.
Well, what else? Let me see. Who else was there? There were some other quote-unquote celebrities. There's one that I'm missing. I can't think of that. And a lot of artists and comic book writers and stuff. And that was real neat to be able to walk by and see the guys. They're sitting at their own booths, at their own tables, and they're all drawing. And you know, if you want to throw a few bucks on them, you know, they'll sign something for you. Or one of the Walking Dead guys, the comic guys, was there because when we came in, they handed everybody got an issue, a reprinted Walking Dead #1. That's labeled on the inside as the WizardCon Nashville.
Yeah.
And they were doing that, and there's somebody there that was there to sign them if you wanted to or anything like that. I don't know. So picked up a few books. We actually didn't stay in there just a whole lot of time, 2, maybe 3 hours, somewhere in that neighborhood. Because by the time I was ready to go, you know, after all this buildup, I've been looking forward to it for weeks. And I was like, okay, you guys ready to go? And Gretchen was like, really? You know, bless her heart. She was trying to be so sweet, you know. It was like, okay, this is Dad's time. Let him do what he wants to do. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've seen everything. You know, we visited Eric Estrada. That was one of the things everything on the list was kind of checked off, you know. I bought some books and, you know, so.
What else do you do?
Yeah, there wasn't really anything else to do. I'd already walked the floor several times at that point. And it's not just huge at this point, but from what my friends tell me, because they've been doing it. This is the 3rd or 4th year. They've had 3 previous, or this is the 3rd year. I don't know. That it's continuing to grow. So I'm hopeful, and I think it's probably something that we'll probably go back and maybe try to do next year. I won't stay in the Sheraton, but yeah, we'll.
The Ramada, Ian.
All right. Well, that's the report from WizardCon. Let's talk food news. We can't let an hour go by and not talk about food. Where was the one I wanted to tell you about? You may have heard about this one. This was in Burbank, California. You know when you go to the grocery store, sometimes they have the sample tables. You can get you a sample of cheese on a cracker or whatever it is. It seems like I remember those more when I was a kid. You don't see those as much anymore.
Yeah, I went the other day to, where was I at? I think I was at Walmart or something, and the lady had a yogurt samples.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like literally a thimble full of yogurt. How in the world you would even figure out what that tasted like? But
you gotta roll it around your mouth. Paint your mouth with it. Okay, well, 78-year-old man, Burbank, California, hospitalized after a 24-year-old man.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah, right. Punched him out over a sample of Nutella.
Ooh.
Do you eat that? Do you know what it is?
You know, I stay away from it because it's basically all just like sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gretchen keeps it and she eats it. And I think I've probably tried it at some point. I'm just not, it's not a regular thing. I'm not real. It's one of those things you're aware of. It seems universal, but then like when you go, well, what is it? I don't really know. It's like a peanut butter alternative or substitute, right?
It's like
it's not peanuts.
Cocoa.
Yeah, if
like
sometimes it's flavored with chocolate or whatever. Anyway. I'm sure we're sitting here talking. We don't know. I'm sure everybody else listening does know.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a peanut butter alternative.
Right.
So anyway, it started over some Nutella. They were serving it on samples on like little Eggo waffles. Well, this 24-year-old guy, Derek Garabigi.
That sounds like trouble.
Garabigi. He grabbed up several. And this elderly gentleman, this 78-year-old old man, I guarantee you it wasn't Danny Trejo.
No.
So you can't picture him doing this. He probably would not have taken a swing on old Danny on machete. You don't swing on machete now.
He'd be like, sir, can I give you some more of these? Do you need anything else?
That's that pull back a stump.
How about I go buy you a soda to drink and wash it down with?
Yes. Anything else, machete?
Yes, sir.
So the old guy says to him, calls him out for taking more. I don't know what that conversation looked like. Did he do it politely? Did he do it, abruptly? I don't know. We don't get the conversation, but apparently the 24-year-old Derek took offense to it, and he punched the old guy out. Now, this was interesting to me. I don't know. I'm pretty well versed in Tennessee law. Don't know much about California law, but he was charged. The way I read this, he was charged with two things. One of those crimes was, this is kind of long, personal infliction of great bodily injury against a person over 70. Okay? Kind of file that away for a moment. Personal infliction of great bodily injury against a person over 70. The second charged, felony elder abuse.
That's cool. I mean, really, I think that's good that they have a separate crime for beating up an old. I mean, for me, kids and old people, if you mess with kids or old people, I don't deal with you.
Yeah, but if I go, let me put it to you this way. Let's say I can charge you with one of two crimes. In this instance, he's charged with two. I can charge you with personal infliction of great bodily injury against a person over 70, or I'll charge you with elder abuse. What's the difference? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, that struck me as odd. Maybe it's not. It doesn't appear
doesn't
peculiar
elder abuse
to you.
seem like it'd be somebody like connected to you?
Yeah, like in Tennessee, it typically involves. It can be a caretaker or a family member that exploits you or takes advantage of you, or but I don't know. I just didn't see the difference. Infliction of great bodily injury on a person over 70 and elderly abuse. So either way. The scene began when the elderly man told Garabigi to only take one sample of the Eggo waffle. You're not supposed to get one with the Nutella. And Garabigi had grabbed several pieces. Burbank police say Garabigi allegedly punched him in the face. And that you don't get much of the story, or you don't get much beyond that. You get that little bit, and I heard everybody, and rightfully so, taking up or excoriating this kid, this young man, for punching out some dude. I mean, it doesn't matter if the dude's 70 or 7 or 17. I mean, that's not a proper response to anything. Here's the only thing for me, and I didn't hear any of this in the conversation, and maybe I'm just a jerk. I don't know, but there's a part of me that's like, 78-year-old man, why did you feel the need to be the Eggo Nutella police? You know what I mean? And now, don't misunderstand. I think if I see somebody, like if I'm out somewhere, if I see a young guy beating up on an elderly man, I'm going to say something and intervene or intercede. Yeah. If I see somebody taking too many samples of Nutella, I'm probably not going to say anything. And I'm just wondering, you have to be so careful having this conversation, because I don't want anything to be construed as if I'm saying the old guy asked for it. No, he did. This is not no matter what the old guy did, this is not a proper response to anything. Punching people in the face. That's not how we resolve or communicate with each other. But is there any shared responsibility? Is there any, do you think it's perfectly reasonable that it needed to be said, or that, especially when somebody's there handing out the samples,
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because like my grandpa would never say anything to anybody about what they were doing if they're doing something like that. But, I've been to those sample things before, and I couldn't imagine someone loading up 8 or 9 samples without the person saying something to him maybe, and then maybe the guy got smart with that, because I can see my grandpa, somebody's getting smart with the lady working the counter, him saying something to her.
Yeah, well, I guess we have to take into account that we have so little of the story. If this old guy
said, some old people are just crazy.
Hey, look here, you jerk. You only get one at a time. You hear me?
You fish-eyed fool.
That kind of colors the story a little differently than if he said, "Pardon me, sir."
Excuse me.
I think it's their preference that each customer each patron only try one at a time. So we don't know how, again, it doesn't matter if he did that either way. A punch in the cash register is not an appropriate response.
Right.
So please don't hear what I'm not saying.
I was raised during the Depression. We only got one snack cracker with Nutella for a whole week.
Yeah. This one cracker was we got at Christmas in our stocking.
Yeah.
We got one cracker and we were happy with it. That's all we had.
We had to go find peanuts and make our own peanut butter.
So, I mean, there's a couple of different things going on here. You know, what I tell people as a friend to our listeners or whatever, my social take on this is don't be either one of these guys.
Right.
Really, maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to make a case that we shouldn't be the guy punching people out.
Right.
Hopefully everybody understands that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a proper response. And we all encounter people every day that we want to.
Oh, yeah.
Deserve it, in our minds anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't do it. You know, I know what turns Mr. Hand into Mr. Fist.
Right.
But you don't do it. So I think we can all kind of settle there. But don't be the guy that's the average random dude that's policing the samples at the grocery store.
Do you ever wonder as you go through your day, like, if you go through your day, how many people you meet that are like one step away from just snapping and knocking somebody out? You know what I mean? Because I mean, I've never gotten there where I've actually physically hurt anybody, but I could see if days start building up, building up, and then one person does something like super stupid small and just throws you right over the edge. I mean, I can see that happening.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's role play for a minute, though, or let's rewrite this story, because even as we read this, our minds tend to fill in the gaps.
Right.
We're creating an image and playing this in our minds of a way that it probably went down.
Mm-hmm.
Let me create a unique scenario.
Mm-hmm.
24-year-old Derek. He has been struggling, maybe with some kind of dependency problem.
Right.
He lost his job
Just got fired
5 or 6 months ago.
Right.
The house payments started to get behind. His wife left him, took the kids. His dad died. He got thrown out of his house because they foreclosed on it. He's been living out of his car. Maybe he hasn't eaten in a day or two. He's too proud to beg. He goes through and he's taken. Does that change anything for you?
Yeah, see, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Again, and I'm doing, I don't think I'm being clever or anything here. I'm kind of, you have given me this to think about, because you just made the example of, you don't know, maybe somebody's ready to snap and have an angry day.
Right.
Or it could be desperation. I don't know. This could be a spoiled frat boy who
Right.
was still half drunk from the night before. You know, we don't know. None of which excuses it.
No.
Either way, he ought to be charged with the crime that he's charged with. I don't excuse it. But you need to think about that before you look over somebody's shoulder and go, hey, buddy, one per customer. Right?
He might have been taking him home to his kids. You never know.
I got the impression he was eating them there, but
No.
either way. You know, there are bigger battles to fight. And there are things, you know, I say, well, that's not your business. You know, well, somebody needs to say something. Somebody needs to stand. Yeah, I mean, if somebody's getting hurt, not if the guy's taking too many waffle samples.
Right. You always think about Katrina. When Katrina happened, you saw those guys looting the stores and stuff. I think if I saw somebody like grabbing food and running out with it, I don't think I'd say anything. Now, the guys are grabbing like plasma screens and running away with it, you know.
In that kind of setting or scenario, who are you gonna say it to? Who are you gonna
Yeah.
scream to? Hey, Mister! Like somebody's gonna run over and grab that one looter. I mean,
Right.
that's why they're looting, is because there's chaos and there's nobody there to grab
Right.
them or police them or anything. No, in that instance, no. So I don't know. Let's all just be a little judicious and slow down a little bit. I mean, I think this old man, as well-intentioned as he probably was, probably could have let this go.
Right.
You know, who cares?
Looking back, he probably wishes he had.
Yeah, I'm sure. Again, you know, not defending the guy that hit him. Okay, pizza. You like pizza? You ever met anybody that doesn't like pizza?
No.
I have. That's fine. I think those people are weird.
Whoa.
How do you not like pizza?
It's got all the perfect stuff on it.
But I get weird looks when I tell people, like, I don't like pretzels.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of pretzels either.
The smell of pizza has been epitomized in a perfume.
Sweet.
Would you like to smell of pizza?
Who is this going to attract, I wonder?
And get you a taste of Fat Green Lantern?
Is it is it for guys or for girls?
I don't know. This whole thing started as a joke on Facebook by Pizza Hut. They were asking their users, what smell do you think of when you open a Pizza Hut box? Now, the psychologists and whatever tell us that smell is the sense that is most tied to memory. And most people, if you think about it, you've experienced that. You can, more than hearing a song, more than anything else, smells will take you to very familiar places. It's the sense that is most connected, most tied to our memory. So they asked this question on Facebook, what smell do you think of when you open a Pizza Hut box? Now, this thing became so popular, and people, when you put something like that on the internet, it's kind of a gamble because folks will take it and run with it and twist it. This kind of worked out for them, though. It inspired Pizza Hut apparently to turn this pull a perfume out of this. They say it's a perfume, so I don't know. That would imply that it's for women, but I don't get that sense. The team responsible for the perfume tested a variety of pizza scents and homed in on their favorite, which turned out to smell basically like fresh baked bread.
I could see that, though. Hey, baby, you smell just amazing.
Baby, you smell better than fresh baked bread, honey. You smell better than stuffed crust, baby.
God, you must be able to cook. Can I go back to your place?
Pepperoni. The scent that they eventually went with, this fresh baked bread, beat out another one, a contender that had a more cheesy smell to it. Unfortunately, for eager fans looking to lavish their bodies in the scent of fresh pizza box, the Pizza Hut scent was a limited release, only to 100 lucky respondents to a promotional post on Facebook. So you kind of get the sense that it's one of those things where you read the headline and it says, pizza scented perfume, and you go, that's ridiculous. It can't be. And you kind of look at the story and you see the whole thing. It's kind of a goof.
Publicity stunt.
Yeah. Is anybody... I don't think anybody's really leaving the house smelling like pizza, fresh baked bread. You smell better than fresh baked bread, baby.
Some people probably are, but not on purpose.
I know a lot of people that smell like McDonald's French fries.
That is a definite aroma in it that you get from some folks.
Well, and hey, laughing at my own expense too. When I was a kid fresh out of college and had to go to work somewhere doing something, I worked in a convenience store, opening up in the morning, going in at 4:30 and jamming up the fryers and getting the fried chicken ready for lunch, man. And there for a period of a couple of years, I had clothes that eventually when I left there, I had to throw away. The grease, I smelled like grease everywhere I went. There's just no way to avoid it. I worked over a deep fryer every day for a year and a half. And it was awful because you could even feel it in the clothes. You wash them, but water, not really going to wash out grease. Oil and water don't mix, and it's in that smell you just couldn't shake. And so, hey, it's the smell of the working man.
That's right.
You get those hungry people fed with that fried chicken. Oh, man, this one just seemed to go fast today. We're already running out of time. I guess our 1 hour limit is self-imposed. We could go as long as we want, but seems appropriate. And it's easier to manage them when I put them up online. If they're in 1 hour blocks, I can kind of... I don't run out of hosting limits or anything. Now, we probably, if we can still pull off our Halloween special, we may extend that and make it a little longer, hour and a half or something like that. Spooktacular. Yeah, that's so cheesy. So understand, because I'm going to put that up. I almost don't want to use that, but then I almost want to do it so we can do it ironically, right? Understand when you see Spooktacular, yes, and we'll have to throw in, just to be ironic, maybe every cliche and trope that we can use. We call it Spooktacular. It should open with Toccata and Fugue in D minor, right? Or the Hall of the Mountain King, or just completely cliche. So anyway, we'll try to crank that out here in a couple of weeks. It's coming up on us, isn't it? All right. Well, seems like a good place to sign off for today. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening again. Again, if you haven't yet, go back and check out some of the previous pods. Check out the one with Mom from a couple of weeks ago. That one was a total blast, and she's really funny, and hopefully we can do it again. We got a good boost from that.
Really?
It's crazy. As much as you and I have been doing that and even sneaking Gretchen in on a time or two, within a day.
Yeah, I noticed we had quite a few new
likes. We got new likes and like where some of the others that had like, 140, 150 clicks or listens over the course of like 2 or 3 weeks, hers had it within 3 or 4 days. It's like, so it obviously we tapped into something there, and I feel good that, you know what, I set her up and she really came through.
You get her to do the intro for us or something.
Yeah, right. And now, here's some alien-headed fools. Oh, yeah, Mom's great. Okay, well, that's all for this week. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for dropping in. And be sure, if you haven't yet, visit us at facebook.com/theythatbelieve. Be sure to give us a like, give us a share, and most importantly, tell a friend. We love it when you tell a friend. I'm Pastor Dave. He's Randall, the armor bearer. We are
They That Believe.